Welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Herzog.
And good evening, I am Miles P. McLaughlin.
And I'm Dave Sellers.
And tonight we are visiting or reviewing, I guess, our thoughts on the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. There was no subtitle for it. It was just like Volume 3, right?
That's
Yep.
correct.
Yeah. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And I have my own thoughts on it, but I can't wait to hear Dave, Miles. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. I have some fellow teacher thoughts on it, and I'm just excited about talking about this film.
Okay,
Um,
I am too.
yeah, so I think I saw it. I think I saw it opening weekend.
Hmm.
Went Saturday afternoon. Took Kiefer and another girl, a friend of his that not a girlfriend, but a friend of his that works for the bed and breakfast. She's a huge geek. Her father was supposed to go along, but he got sick, and we went and saw it, and all of us loved it. So we were,
Oh,
yeah, it was probably in my humble and expert opinion that I think it was one of the best things that Marvel has put out in quite a time.
Yeah.
Maybe Spider-Man, maybe the latest Spider-Man one was good, but other than that, like Eternals and even like Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, and obviously Ant-Man and Quantumanium, like that stuff just didn't hold candle, in my opinion, to Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And I felt like when you look at the three Guardians of the Galaxy movies together, they have a similar tone. It's clearly James Gunn at the helm of all of them, and you just see it. And I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I would see it when it comes back. When it comes on Disney, I will watch it again. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So there you got my initial thoughts. Miles, how about your initial thoughts?
I enjoyed it a lot, and I will definitely watch it again. I feel like there's so much in this movie that one sitting is not enough, so I definitely have to see it again. I'm not sure it's the best of the trilogy. I think I think maybe the second one might be my favorite,
Mm.
but there's a lot to like in this one. Um, but I enjoyed it a lot, and as far as latest Marvel efforts, um, this is definitely one of the better ones. I saw Quantum Mania. I just finished watching it a little while ago, and yeah, that didn't grab me as much either. I felt like I had to kind of like slog through it, especially the first hour. It just I don't know. I felt like it was too long. Um, and Thor: Love and Thunder, I didn't care for either. So
Oh, I did
yeah,
like that one. Did
you
like that one.
know.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, at least I thought, okay, Marvel still has it. Um, it explores some interesting ideas, which we could talk about later. Um, and so yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah. Dave, how about your initial thoughts?
Well, it was the first Marvel movie I actually took a day off of work to go see on opening day on Friday, so we were looking
Wow,
forward to it a lot. Yeah.
that's why you took the half day. I get it.
Oh no, I took the whole day that day. I don't waste my time. Get the earliest show, first showing that they had. Um, no, yeah, just like you guys. I mean, we watched like was it the weekend before we rented or yeah, rented or bought or whatever it was, Quantum Mania before it actually came on Disney Plus. To watch that first, just to make sure that you know we're gonna be up to speed with everything. I don't know how if they connected at all or anything. Um, but yeah, that was a bit of a slog. You're right. I mean, it was good and all, but you get into that multiverse stuff, you start to kind of lose me a little bit. But no, this was a very welcomed relief after the last several Marvel movies. I mean, still with the Phase One characters in a lot of ways, which helps, really helps.
Yes.
Um, and James Gunn, just a phenomenal director. I mean, he did an
Yeah.
amazing job with that movie again. And yeah, like you said, it felt right in theme with the other two. And I was glad I watched the Christmas special too. Glad I didn't pass
Yeah.
on that one because that fit in pretty well. But
Yeah.
yeah, another amazing movie.
Yeah. You know, and there were so many like references to the Christmas movie throughout, like literally throughout.
No,
Not that you would have had. I didn't feel like you had to watch it, but
no,
I
but it
felt
made a
like if you watched, I felt like if you watched it, you were like in the know
yeah,
a little bit. Yeah,
yeah.
one of those things. Yeah. Um, yeah, so let's talk a little bit about some of the other what we've been hearing before we get into like deep dive into the movie. Let's talk a little bit about what are some of the things we've been hearing from other people we've talked to about the movie. Uh, I'm thinking like Pam, an English teacher, teaches right next door. I totally I said you got to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It is awesome, and she walked away kind of like eh. And I think what it was, and she's like typically a Marvel fan. I think for her it was the gross factor, the ick factor. Like so they go into this what looks like a fleshy type station, right? Um, and they're blowing up stuff and this gobs of stuff, and then you have like the rocket stuff, which didn't bother me because it's Rocket's backstory, but some of that's kind of grotesque and macabre, right? You have the creatures that are half machine, half animal, and while there's an absolute beautifully tender love story, it is also a little bit grotesque, right? Depending on your sentiment. So I kind of got where she was coming from, but I'm like, that's not the point, right? And I just felt like why not go to a bizarre planet? You go to a planet that's a skull. You go to I mean, it just makes and maybe therein is a tie-in, right? You have a skull planet, you have this fleshy planet. Maybe there's actually a theme. You have this planet that's actually a living organism. So I don't know. Maybe there's a tie-in to all that.
Yeah, maybe.
But what have you guys been hearing? What have other people said?
My friend Carl, who I enjoy lots of Star Trek, Star Wars, and Marvel, uh, him and his son went to see it, and he loved it. He actually addressed something on Facebook. I guess there was some controversy over the one planet with the animal people. I'll call it, for lack of a better word,
Uh-huh.
counter Earth. Uh, you know, destroying that planet, and just was it some kind of weird message or whatever? It was just, after watching it, I'm thinking, no, it was just the bad guys. Like, you know what? This experiment didn't work. I'm going to start over. So um, I didn't think it was any kind of you know anti animal message or whatever it was. It was just um, that's something I heard.
Yeah. Honestly, this right now is probably the first time I'm talking about this movie with anybody.
Okay.
Outside of you guys, there's really no one else I know who has seen it
Yeah.
that I talked to. So this is good, as I'm getting a lot of fresh stuff here, and
Yeah.
listening to you guys, I'll feed off of it and try to recollect a lot of what I remember. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, let's dive into a little bit for us. What were some of the things in this movie that made it? Sounds like most of us were saying this was a good movie. Miles, you alluded to something. I thought maybe we can talk about that now, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of the movie itself. Um, you mentioned that this was a good Guardians movie, but maybe not your favorite Guardians movie. If you were to, we'll start with you, Miles. If you were to rank the three Guardians of the Galaxy movies, how would you rank them?
The second one is probably my favorite. Then the first one, and then this one. That's how I would go it.
Okay. Dave, how about you?
oh boy, oh boy. Um, wow. That's a
And keep
really
in
good.
mind,
If you need to think about it, I'll come back to you. I have my list together.
keep in mind, we've seen the Guardians make appearances in the other Marvel movies too.
True.
I
True.
enjoyed their appearance in um, the last two Avengers movies, Endgame and what was the one? What was
Infinity
the
War.
one? And thank you, Infinity War. I mean, they had a prominent. They had a lot of good screen time in those movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah, come back to me.
Yeah. So if I were doing it, it would be. I've been going back and forth as to whether number one or number three is my favorite, because I think they're almost on par. Like I loved a lot of things about this one. There was definitely a bigger investigation into character development that we got in this episode than we got in maybe the other movies, especially when you look at Rocket. And so there was a huge character arc that I loved. There was something about the first one that I really liked, and the second one with the Ego Planet, like that just didn't like Kurt Russell. Like I'm sorry, it just didn't do much for me. I'd actually, if I were to rank the Christmas special, it would actually be above that. Like the Christmas special, then movie number two. So movie number two was actually personally my lowest. Um, that being said, it was still better than Eternals, better than Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And so by me ranking it last does not mean in any way that it was bad. It just if you're preference and like movies, I'm like, oh, let's go watch the Guardians movie. Which one are we going to watch? These are the other ones that I'd probably pick before that one. But it's not that I wouldn't watch that one again.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I haven't even seen the Christmas special yet, so I have to go back and watch that.
Oh,
you
that's a
definitely
gold,
do.
man. I think
It
it's
is
gold.
absolutely Kevin Bacon.
God. Um. So yeah, I would honestly probably have to go. I would probably have to go three, two, one, just in straight reverse order. Um. While I loved one, the comedy in there was just terrific.
Mhm.
The way the characters started forming together were great, but they were still new. They were still figuring each other out, and you didn't have the relationships there. Two was I thought really great. I love Peter Quill's character. He's probably one of my favorite in there, and to see them dive much deeper into him was was what really held that movie for me. And then of course all of the Drax comedy that went along with it, and little baby Groot running around was absolutely entertaining. But the reason I like this one I think the best is you're seeing the final arc of these characters to a point where they've been through, I mean, everything together from when they first meet each other to Nebula's, I don't know, what do you want to call transformation, her coming around to everything after getting through defeating Thanos, through Infinity War and all that, and you're seeing the summit of their characters' growth in this, and then the way the movie ended was fitting. I thought it was a good end chapter. So that's kind of where I put them all. There
Right.
was certainly plenty of
I mean,
comedy in this, but
yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely like the way they wrapped up the story. It felt complete
yeah,
and yet open.
yes,
Like that they could do more if they wanted to later
yeah,
on.
and we know we're
Which
going to
they
see Peter
imply.
Quill again.
Right. Because Star Lord will return.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can agree with your thoughts on all of those. I think there's justifications to kind of put him in
Yeah,
each place.
and that was
Let's
literally gun to my head having to pick an order here because
Yeah,
you know
exactly. It's like
that
that's not an easy thing. And
no,
as you said, you see the band forming in the first one and them like becoming a crew. And here you see them definitely a crew trying to rescue one of their own, and then coming to the conclusion that they're going to do other things. It's interesting. So
and Peter's finally coming to acceptance with Gamora after losing her and then her
Yeah.
coming back, but it's not her, and his apparent accepting of what is and trying to live with the loss, but and even a harder loss because she's not really gone. You know, it's such a
Right.
it's a really good part to it for me.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you in that. Well, let's talk. Let's dive into the movie a little bit. Um, and let's pick apart. We can. I mean, how do you want to approach it? I was thinking we could talk maybe about favorite moments, or maybe and maybe that gets into other things. We can do storyline. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Either way, I only have one
I
gripe with the whole movie, so
All right, Miles, you have an opinion. Go here.
I like what they kind of explored with Rocket's past.
yes.
I like this was they explored eugenics.
Yeah.
The bad guy was kind of had some Joseph Mengele vibes, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And different type of villain than Thanos was, but
Yeah. Dr.
still,
Frankenstein, maybe a little bit.
yeah, Doctor Frankenstein, especially. Well, but just the the depraved indifference he had towards his subjects, his lab experiments. I mean, he makes these animals sentient. He also cybernetically augments them, and he is just indifferent. I mean, and then when he makes Rocket, Rocket becomes. We find out he's super smart genius, um, which the high evolutionary recognizes, but still at the same time he still considers him inferior.
Right.
Um, and so just he wants to create this perfect society, but when it some imperfections come out where they're the octopus heads were selling meth or something like that.
Right.
um, you know, so it went to some dark places. I mean, you say, yeah, Rocket doesn't talk about his past, and then when we see Rocket's flashbacks, we know why he doesn't talk about his past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just he has this brief but very close friendship with these other animals that have been given sentience,
Which, by
and
the way, is absolutely beautiful, I might add.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, I mean, I think you got to get your eyes got to get a little weepy after you find out what happens to them.
Yeah.
And the scene where you know Rocket is unconscious. Well, and he wants to join his friends, and he said, yes, you can join us, but not yet. And
Yeah. Well, that scene, there's such a, what is it, Layla or whatever her name is like, there's such a beautiful love story almost in that. And you're kind of rooting for Rocket and her to like be it, you're shipping them together. You're saying, yeah, let's put them together. And the fact that not yet at this moment, but soon, that's fantastic.
the genius of the writing, that they made us care about a talking raccoon, a talking otter, a talking rabbit, a talking walrus. Did I miss anybody? I mean,
That's
No.
pretty good.
it was just like, you know, these
And
are.
they were kind of grotesque. Like they're cobbled together with machines, a little bit like Five Nights at Freddy vibes, mechanical things, but you care about them.
Mhm.
They also made them sympathetic because of what this crazy bastard, it put them through. I mean,
Right.
I felt sorry for him. It was just, that's how good this movie and this writing
All,
is
all
it
they
made.
wanted to do was to see the sky.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
when she says, yes, it is, this guy just keeps going on forever, and just like, oh, it was heartbreaking. It was just,
Yeah.
what they went through, but they made us care about them. And again, that's just a genius. Something the movie did extremely well is made us care about Rocket and his friends and the four subjects that the high evolutionary did these experiments on.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave, how about you? Some moments or themes or ideas in the movie that really stuck out to you?
Yeah. So you're really exploring transhumanism in this.
Right.
like we just were talking about here. And the way the way they go about depicting it and how they are really fighting against this guy, it's very timely
Right.
in many ways. And
In what way,
it, well, we mentioned a few fascinating names before when he's had a little bit of Joseph Mengele in it, but there's nothing new under the sun. And with us now talking about a lot of the possibilities from a lot of futurists out there talking about being able to merge the human brain with a computer and really continue to live on, and a lot of theory they're doing with augmentation with computers for human beings and things like that, very Borg-esque. It's very timely, and it could depicts the little you're right, the macabre side of it, the grosser side of it, where it's a very fine line between working to improve or the struggle to perfect, and the dangers that can come and the atrocities that can come out of it. Now, granted, in the movie, he's only experimenting really on animals, which is the big focus
right,
of it, which is
right,
perfect for a movie of this caliber.
right,
You'd probably get a
and
real hard R rated.
certainly tying into Rocket's backstory, right? I
Exactly,
mean, so I mean,
exactly. It makes sense.
to do something else with it would be a disservice to that story.
Correct. And we did see a lot of it with Nebula throughout the whole Guardian series and how
Right,
Thanos kept fixing her.
right,
But that was a very good key underlying plot with the whole deal that
yeah,
I found. And I could be
uh,
completely off. It could just be, hey, this guy's just working on monkeys and stuff. We don't know. But
right.
this is what I'm seeing and what I'm
Well, the fact
watching.
that it made you think that, I mean,
Correct.
it makes it's a valuable thing.
Yeah.
I know I look at it and say, let's take this a step farther. We talk about a lot of conversations like what is sentience this day. I mean, we talk about especially when the advent of AI coming through and like where's that taking us? And so these are it's animals, but it's also timely because of the ideas that are being put forth and stuff that we're kind of questioning.
Right. And it
You
really
know,
it really emphasized even more. Like we're going through all the Marvel movies right now with my daughter. She wanted to start watching them, so we're going through them in timeline order, and we're just about finished with Ultron, Age of Ultron.
throw no strings
Yeah,
to me.
and you're talking about AI, and I'm watching this one again, going, holy crap, this is even more relevant today than it was back when it
Oh
was made.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
beautiful. But yeah, it's really neat. And when Rocket, gets back to when they get back to that lab where he was created, and he opens it up, and all the little raccoons are still in the pen, and he actually sees raccoon written on the cage after he'd get
yeah,
so pissed that the other guys were calling him a raccoon because he didn't know what that was. It's like, oh, that's me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So certainly, those were some beautiful, beautiful moments. Um, I think the other moment, it was great to see Malcolm Reynolds. You know,
Yes,
Oh,
all the
yes.
cameos.
the,
Oh,
the cameos thrown in it. So he was. I'm like, you know, all we needed was Jane yet, and we'd have been okay.
oh, my
Yeah, that would have been
goodness.
awesome.
That would
We
have
got
been,
Stallone,
Yes,
yes.
yeah,
and I
yeah.
don't know if you recognized him, but we got Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor and
Oh, where was he
Smallville.
at?
So his face, like, had was a crystal face or whatever, but
Ah,
he was one of the Ravagers.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, good. Yeah, I haven't seen him in anything recently, but it's probably just because I'm not watching shows he's in. So,
Yeah.
So
but
this is the first thing I've seen him in a long
yeah,
time. I think he was in the last Guardians as a Ravager with it was just
yeah,
kind of that cameo type thing, but they made him this alien with using the computer CGI on his
yeah.
face.
And
So Go ahead.
Was that Michelle Yeoh as one of the Ravagers also?
I don't see her on the IMDb.
Maybe not. She was one of the other Ravager captains there at the end with Stallone and Crystal Face.
So I don't think. Yeah, I don't think she was there.
Okay, it was just such a quick glimpse that I thought, wow, that was that, and didn't think of anything until you brought up Rosenberg.
But yeah, so we got some great cameos,
Yeah.
and well, there were more than. I mean, they had several minutes. I mean, I think Nathan Fillion had you know at least 10 minutes on
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had more than he did in Suicide Squad.
That's true.
That's true. That's true. I think some of my Dax continues to give these great liners. Like one liner's like, "Yeah, we're great. We're gonna kill some people. No, we aren't gonna kill some people. We're gonna kill a few people. We're gonna kill one person. No, no." It's just some fantastic lines to just get from. And how cool was it to see in him his ability to communicate with the kids?
Oh, that was
Yes.
heartwarming.
And suddenly, like, he's actually speaking language, and you realize this is not just a brute and brawn kind of idiotic thug. Like, there's depth to this guy, and he's able to speak the kids' language. And it's not only a revelation for us, but his crew has been traveling with him.
Yeah, he's more than just this giant meathead who just says funny things.
Yeah.
Oh, that dialogue was great between Mantis and Nebula and him, calling him an
Yeah.
idiot and all this stuff. And yeah,
Yeah.
the only one who could talk. And it was cool seeing him fight the that interdimensional battery sucker machine thing again that they did in the beginning of Volume 2 with all the tentacles and everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's like three of them that they ended up fighting again.
Was that well? Did Mantis? Did she like use her empathic abilities to kind of settle them down, and then they kind of just, she kind of adopted them?
Yeah, and she was riding him like a dune sandworm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that's right. That's right. Um, and how and so one of the things I have to ask you about is one of the questions I forget who I was dialoguing with about it was maybe it was Pam. What's up with Groot?
I know
Uh,
he's huge.
He's like, well, no, not that. He goes, "I love you guys" at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, where? It's like, could he always speak, or is it that we've been with this crew now for 3 movies and now we understand him because now he's speaking coherently, like we understand him, and that
Well,
he's still saying I am Groot, and we're just hearing I love you guys.
in the first film, when Groot version 1 sacrifices himself, he says, "We are Groot." So it's sometimes he has the ability to say more than that. It's just it doesn't come out. It only comes out at certain times.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that day?
Oh, I love that. I mean, he's always been one of the funnier ones, just because of the way, like Chopper in Star Wars Rebels. You don't know what he's saying, but with everybody else's context around, you get an idea, and it
Right.
makes it. I think it just adds the humor to it.
Right. Yeah. I didn't realize James Gunn's brothers in the movie as what's his character?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can look that up real quick. His
Oh,
character's name,
Yeah, he's a central character actually.
Craiglin.
Kraglin.
Pronounces
That's
Craig.
right.
Yeah, the guy that whistles with the arrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that he also does the stop motion for Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
so yeah, I was watching an interview with him and they were showing it. I'm like, oh, he's also Rocket, not the voice, but he's manifesting Rocket. So
Oh, that's
thought that was
cool.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, he
Kraglin.
got he got plenty of work in that movie.
he
Mm-hmm.
does. It's helpful to have a brother that's a director, right?
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah,
wrong with a
But
little
but
nepotism to help you out a
you know
little.
what? To be fair, I felt like he fit the role. It wasn't like he was just like, "Oh, you're my brother. I'm gonna give you a role." Like he definitely like. I would not have said, "Oh, this is James Gunn's brother." I wouldn't even thought that because
right,
he did such a great job in all three movies.
right.
So
Yeah, he really did. He really did do an amazing job.
you know, you look at this. Just a thought about that. The Ravagers, you really view in the first movie, kind of come off as being the bad guys. You know, and by the end, you're not. By the end of the third movie, you're like, these people are not necessarily bad,
Right.
and or at least there's a human component to them that makes you understand why they're doing what they do.
Yeah.
Well, we find out in the second film they do have a moral code, and that's
Yes.
why they kicked out Londo. It's just because he was kidnapping children and giving them to Ego. It's just like we leave kids alone. You broke. We have a code. You leave the kids alone. And
Right.
We
so
don't
they're
deal in
they're
kids.
Yeah.
so. I mean, yeah, Stallone, chewed out Londo for what he did, and that he wouldn't get like when he died, and they give the party the send off, but he redeemed himself, so he did get the send off in the second film.
Touching
I mean, the
moment.
Ravagers, I compare them to it's a Firefly reference, like uh, the crew of Firefly. They'll take jobs legal and illegal,
Yeah.
um,
But always
so
maintain a level of morality somewhere.
they have a code.
You got a code.
Right.
And I guess Gamora it has you know found a new home with the Ravagers.
By the way, Michelle Yeoh is in as one of the Ravagers,
Ah!
Oh, I stand corrected.
and
I,
So is Ving Rhames.
oh, Ving
Which
Rhames.
is
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he's
That's
in
the
there.
one.
Yeah. So Michelle Yeoh is as Aletta.
Yes.
Um,
Very small role, but yeah.
yes.
So, what did you guys think of Adam?
that was
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this because there's one character I could have done without in the movie. It was Adam.
he was kind of a disappointment. I was expecting so much more.
At the same
Right?
time, at the same time, he goes through being a patsy of the golden people
The
to
Sovereign,
what are they called, the sovereigns. Like
yeah,
he goes from being a patsy of them, like a tool of them, to becoming his own person and developing his own mind. And so there's some incredible growth in him throughout the movie. I just could have done without him. Like I felt like he was unnecessary, but maybe that's just me.
Well,
he was more of a plot device. I mean,
yeah.
he had to be the one to wound Rocket and put Rocket in that coma. He was. I mean, the main enemy was the high evolutionary, but Adam was kind of a thorn in their side.
Which is the problem when you're running multiple bad guys in a movie like this. And you folks listening, and even you guys here, if you're more familiar with the comics than I am, please comment, correct me. I will easily stand to be corrected. But it was always my understanding that in the comics, especially, Adam was a total badass. Like with a proper, with a different script, he could have been the bad guy for an entire movie, like the bad guy for at least a movie, if not more. So they were able to defeat him. And I remember reading about him when you saw the cocoon thing that he was in at the end of the first movie in the post credit scene there when you saw that cocoon that he came out of, it was him. And we were all excited about it because we're like, oh, they're going to bring Adam in. This is going to be great. And then I see him used like this two movies later, that was a disappointment. That's my only real bugaboo about this whole movie was I think he was an underutilized character that had so much more potential, and they kind of wasted him on this. I mean, Rocket could have gotten that injury from anybody else, any other job they could have been doing, something simple at the beginning, and could have just gotten blasted, whatever. But that he was a bit of a disappointment.
Hmm.
And again, folks, correct me if I'm wrong, please.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, well, very good. What did you think? Were there other any other parts of the movie that we should talk on? I want to talk a little bit about obviously end credit scenes and music. We need to talk about as well. Um,
Oh,
So I
music.
was, the music didn't wow me in this film. I like the music in the second film and the first film, but this film, um, yeah, it was kind of. I'm pretty mad over the
I mean, I
music.
like the music. The music has always been one of the parts. The music has functioned for me like another character, right? Um, it's a defining mark on the Guardians movies that you have these classic um, these classic soundtracks, which is why it's interesting. Like in this one, they actually come up into the '90s and 2000s, right, to bring the soundtrack into some parts. Um, so I think that's good too.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I like the music. Dave, how about you?
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, I've only seen it once in theaters, so it's not really the individual songs that were played there aren't exactly sticking in my brain. But I remember not having an issue with it. I mean, and finding it fit. I mean, it wasn't. It's obviously not memorable enough for me to actually be like,
Right.
oh yeah, when they played this song, it was all.
So maybe there were fewer like notable classic songs in it, and maybe that's
Maybe
some of it.
I have to watch it again.
But yeah. Oh, I did forget about one character that I wanted to talk about. We can't. We would be remiss if we did an episode and we didn't talk about the dog.
Oh, Cosmo,
Cosmo
bad
was
dog.
awesome. Like, take that
When did
back.
the
You take
dog
that
become
back.
sentient?
Yeah.
Holiday special.
Always.
You'll
What?
see that one.
Okay, that's okay.
But
That's
but I
also
think I think even in what was the one where they went and uh, Guillermo de Toro was the
With the collector.
yeah, like even there you saw the voice box on the dog. Like I think that was always there. We just didn't hear the dog speak. But certainly the holiday special is where we saw it
Uh-huh.
really take place. But some fantastic like you're a good dog. Who's a good dog?
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah. You take that back. I'm not a bad dog. You take that. It was, uh,
not
Oh,
only is the
between the
dog
dog and Kraglin, it was great.
it was fantastic.
not only is the dog sentient, but the dog is also telekinetic.
Yes,
Yes. Saves the
which was
day at the end.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is that is awesome. And a brief appearance of Howard the Duck again. Yeah, we you know what we were talking about this. The Howard the Duck is a franchise, like it's a movie that came out prior. It's a Marvel property, right? Came
Yeah.
out in the what '90s, '80s. When did that movie come
80s,
out?
early 80s.
Early '80s. So this is like prior to Marvel being a franchise as we know it today, right? And I don't think I ever saw the movie.
No, I have to go back and watch it. I have seen it, I think, but it's been forever ago.
And it'd be interesting just to see it. I mean, they keep throwing him into
Yeah.
the Guardians franchise, and like the moment he's on, I'm like, I know who that is. I know nothing about the character. I know it's a Marvel franchise, but I haven't read the comics books that closely. Miles, did you read any of the comic books of Howard the Duck?
No,
No.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the movie. So
Maybe that's
I haven't
something we
even.
could do as a movie review.
I'd be all for that. I would be for it. You're not excited?
So
Miles is like Can you please pull out my toenails? That's a look I'm getting from Miles right now.
There's a reason why the movie was a bomb.
Was it a bomb?
Yeah, it didn't do well in theaters.
Makes it
I
all the
still
more reason we got to review
I still kind
it.
of want to see it. I still kind of want to see it.
1986.
Yeah, 1986.
Oh
That was
gosh,
the year I entered high school.
14% on the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, 38% audience score. I have to see this movie.
So yeah, we should watch this.
Oh,
We should do it and like stream it live and comment on it as it's playing.
oh gosh, that would be terrific.
That'd be terrible.
So just because Miles is gonna hate it, I think we should do it. I think it's a
You guys, that's like 2 hours of your time you're never going to get back.
Yeah, well,
correct, but it's 2 hours that I get to spend with you guys, and that's the
exactly,
big thing.
exactly. Well, with a cast of Leah Thompson and Tim Robbins, I mean,
I mean, who can go wrong? Those are
who,
classic actors.
yes, who can go wrong?
I mean, Leah Thompson, she's like Star Trek fame, right? Directing some of the best episodes of
Yeah,
Star Trek. And the
And,
and
and
it,
second
well,
season of
and she
Picard.
was mom and the mom in Back to the Future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but supposedly her and the duck get it on, and that's
Maybe that
that
would
that
violate YouTube guidelines.
oh, it's on Amazon Prime to stream.
Good, we can do it for free.
Yes.
Wait on my next movie.
You can get it for $8 on Blu-ray. That's beautiful.
There's a reason you can get it for $8 in Blu-ray. Just so you
Oh,
know. Well, let's back up to the Guardians movie a
yes,
little bit before
yes,
we get.
yes.
yes.
It's associated. We're talking about Howard the Duck, so be fair enough. We aren't totally rabbit trailing here. Um, so let's talk a little bit about the like. I remember I don't know who I was with. Maybe it was Kiefer said, "Is that Kang, the black the guy that was the Machiavellian character in this one?" And it's not. It's a
Uh-uh.
different character.
Yeah, it's a different actor. He has a very African name.
Yeah.
Um, I'll take a stab at pronouncing it. I'll probably butcher it. Shookwoody. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't.
you're not doing it justice, Miles.
No, I certainly am not. No, it's yeah, his name is hard to pronounce.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I thought he was a good villain.
Oh, he was great. I
Cold,
think he did a
cold,
great
cold,
job.
cold and calloused. Um, Along with his henchmen that worked around him, I thought they were all good.
Yeah.
I loved how when they're in the cube on that animal planet and it's lifting off, how everyone goes into to rescue um, Peter Quill and Rocket, and they don't need rescuing. They have their whole plan. Not it's also Groot's with them. You have this whole plan to get out, and as they're exiting, the other people are entering the ship. It's fantastic and classic Guardians.
What are you doing? Why didn't you do? Yeah. No one
Yeah,
sticks to the plan.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Um,
think Groot, if they do another movie with him, he's going to be as big as a California redwood.
Probably, and that would be awesome.
I mean, the last scene with him in it, he's just ginormous.
He looked better in this one than he did in the holiday special. When you say Dave, he just
Yes.
looked like he looked like he was on way too much steroids in the holiday special.
Oh, he's getting swole, man. He's hitting the bench. Him and
Yeah,
Drax.
he is. Yeah, he is. So that was it was nice. It was nice to see that. Nice to see that.
Yeah.
But Oh, so
Yeah.
the Peter Quill, we talked about the Gamora love interest. Like, this is not the same Gamora, right? This is the alternate universe Gamora. So they don't have a relationship, and he's trying to make that happen. But we also get a little bit of banter between Nebula and him, right? You're like, I like your eyes. They were cut out. The whole that whole dialogue there was like there was clearly some interest there they were playing with, and she's like not buying it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like you love my sister. She don't want you no more. So now you're coming after the sister. It's like
Yeah, this is a what do they call that? A bounce back or whatever.
rebound thing there.
Rebound.
Yeah,
There you go. That's what I was looking at. That's the word, the rebound, right?
yeah.
Back from the rebound. Right.
Their interaction. There's that one scene where they were
Yeah.
talking really close, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Look at what they're gonna kiss. Watch. Nope.
No, it was definitely there was definitely some tension there that
Oh
was
yeah.
shown. So
Brief flirtation.
yeah, brief flirtation indeed. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the post-credit scenes. We had, I guess, three different things we can talk about. We'll talk about the last one. The last one, of course, is just the end screen that says um, Peter Quill, Star Lord will return. You
Yes.
know, which is different because it was always Guardians will return, and now it's Star Lord. So clearly, he's in another project than Marvel was envisioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Do we know what that is?
no, but I think Dave Batista he's done with Guardians.
Oh,
So
doesn't make that doesn't surprise me.
Why?
so
Again.
Yeah, he was great. He has no other acting that he's doing.
so
You're a
well,
former
he
pro
was
wrestler.
actually he was on some talk show and like the last day of filming, he was like, I didn't get a chance, but he did have something coming up, but like he didn't stick around after he was done his filming scenes. He didn't stick around to say goodbye. He went to his next project, which he said he regrets because he didn't get say goodbye to his fellow cast members. They probably it might be a while before he sees them. So, but I don't know with the other cast members. I would it's but
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess this is be just a Peter Quill project. I mean, he's on Earth now, so um, maybe something happens on Earth that he he is there to respond to, or maybe the Avengers get his help with something.
Yeah. Is that what is the next movie slated? Do they have one?
I don't.
Let me see here. Um, so here's what I'm reading about it because I'm looking it up a little bit. Um, they said so here. Let me just read a little bit of the story. If Star Lord is getting his own solo movie as hinted by the title, it's safe to bet that Nova will have some part of it. However, getting the character fit into the MCU isn't as simple as introducing a singular entity. Who's Nova? Oh, it says which Nova, right? Um, so they talk about the potential of it being like a solo Star Lord movie,
Huh.
Mhm.
but nothing's been announced, right? And so that's the. They also say a Star Lord's movie return could be with the X-Men. Um,
So that's going to be an animated show,
oh,
I
that
think,
one.
isn't it?
Let me see. I read the story here. Oh,
They do have
mm,
two new Avengers movies slated in 2025 and 26.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. So it almost seems like they're a year apart, literally almost to the day. So I bet that's a two-parter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also they also so we have that, and then we of course the mythical Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4 is cued by the new lineup of Rocket, Groot, Cosmo, and Kraglin suited up alongside Adam.
Yeah.
Um,
That wasn't the other post credit scene
that was
that
another
we had
post
there.
credit
Yeah.
scene, so that could be a four, or it could be like a lead into like another holiday special. You
Right.
know, and how does this fit into the Secret Invasion that's coming out?
Well, that's
The
a
Secret Invasion.
TV. That's a TV
Yeah,
show. I think
That is a TV show.
it seems to be a Nick Fury centered,
Yeah,
which is awesome because
yeah. I mean,
you know
after all,
Nick Fury,
I know.
old man Nick Fury.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, our actors have aged 15, 20 years since
They
this
have.
movie.
so if we,
So, all right. So we have that. We have, of course, the Guardians. What did you think of him sitting down with his grandfather?
that was a nice scene. I mean, it was him reconnecting with his Earth family. I mean, he has been with the family of the Ravagers, his family with the Guardians, and I don't remember which character said, is your grandfather still alive? And you should see if your family on Earth is still alive. And so that was a nice scene that he went to go see, his grandfather.
I mean, that guy has done tons of stuff too. You know. Um,
Yeah, and if you look at the paper that
yes.
his grandfather's watching, it's a good tie-in to the holiday special.
Right. It's kind of like this. What is it?
Kevin Bacon
See,
abducted by aliens.
right, right. Kind of a off the rack supermarket tabloid type thing.
hmm
Um, and so that was kind of fun. Um, um, yeah, so I don't know. I like it. I mean, it's hard to know exactly how that's all transpires. Or, I mean, you might be able to argue that the post-credit scenes with Rocket and Groot that obviously hints at the future of Guardians, a new lineup for Guardians, which I'd be okay with that.
Yeah,
At least give it a movie with Rocket and Groot helming it, and the new people doing it. So I'm all for it. Yeah,
yeah. Why not?
yeah. Um,
It's got to be better than the Eternals either way.
yeah, yeah. Facts.
I think we probably get a Guardians with Rocket and Groot a lot faster than we'll get a sequel to the Eternals.
Oh, we better.
Yeah. By the way, the just want to jump back to the mid-credit scene with Rocket and Groot.
Yeah.
Um, they talk about one of the people, the Phyla, 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 Vell, is one of the people that's in the band. And people are saying it's one of the most peculiar characters in this new gang of heroes. Her presence certainly raised eyebrows for Marvel superfans. In the comics, she is the offspring of the Kree warrior Marvel and is a super scientist named Elias, and uses quantum bands, which are nodded to in Miss Marvel's Disney Plus. So it's interesting.
Huh.
Um, yeah, so that brings up another thing. We were teased. You probably saw this in your theater when you went. One of the movies that was played at the beginning was the interplay between the like Brie Larson and then her counterpart that played in the Marvel series and TV. What's that one called? That's
The
coming out.
Marvels.
That movie. Yeah, the Marvels. Yeah, what do you guys think of this movie that's coming down the pipe?
But the Marvels,
Yeah,
Yes.
no interest.
I mean, I get that they're trying to tie things together. Um, it might be interesting. I think this is one of these that I'm going to have to wait and see as we get closer to the time. Follow the reviews.
right, right.
Um,
And after Brie
like
Larson got all the heat from the other one,
Guardians, the moment it was announced, yeah, especially with the track record we've had with Quantum Mania and the Eternals, this feels a little bit nebulous.
yeah,
And I don't get where we're going with it. It may. My only thing is, it may bring in a younger audience, maybe.
And,
maybe.
and
And that's
maybe
that's not
the
necessarily a bad thing. But,
no, it's not. Maybe more the I don't know. Maybe attract more women, young girls by having
right?
female superheroes.
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
How did the Ms. Marvel TV show go?
I enjoyed it. It
Okay.
wasn't. It ends, of course, with the very end of it ends with a tie-in to the movie that's coming out.
Okay.
So they clearly were thinking about this movie as the TV show was being developed. There's clearly a play into it. It was interesting in that you brought a different nationality into the Marvel universe, the Indian, Pakistani type, I don't know, Arab type,
Middle Eastern.
yeah, Middle Eastern. Thank you. And so that was interesting for me, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I just it's like it was a good show. Hawkeye was definitely hands down better,
Oh yeah.
um, and even Captain America and Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, or whatever it was called,
Yeah.
like that series was okay, but in the end, it really grew on me and got really strong in the end. And Loki, man, that was fantastic. So if I were to rank it, it's not the highest in the series for me, but I think it was also geared toward a teenage audience,
Right.
which I am unfortunately not a teenager anymore. So, or fortunately, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Which again, you and this is where some of my frustration is. You've built a lot of these TV shows where you're ending with here's Julia Louis-Dreyfus coming in. Where's the payoff for this character?
well, so it took us how many movies did it take them building up to Thanos before we really got to see Thanos?
Right.
Like they were building it up for a while, so it's quite possible there is a pun intended an end game for that character, right?
Yeah.
That we just don't. The Disney's not that's closed lip about. My concern is movies that are flopping like Quantum Mania that has Kang in it, who you would think would be the villain coming up, um, and having that kind of flop for them, and then the Eternals, where at the end it says these characters will return in Eternals 2, and there's no one talking about Eternals 2 anymore because of what happened. That some of these things that you're trying to tie together, this is not flowing as easily for Disney and Marvel as the first
Right.
batch of movies did for it.
Right.
Because I don't know that there was any. There were some that I like more than others, but there were none that I would have like said was a dud. Maybe the second Thor movie would have been a little bit duddier than others, but it wasn't. But I enjoyed it. Like that's one I would like. I'm going to go see it in theater.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I felt about everyone. And this Guardians 3, bringing this back to what we're talking about, was the only movie recently I said I got to go see this in theater.
Right. And even the second Thor movie had a purpose to the anthology as a whole by
Yes,
bringing in that second Infinity, the Infinity Stone.
right.
I'm not getting any of that from anything else yet.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because I don't know what the plan is that we're not seeing it. But
And maybe the comics do explore a different arc that we aren't seeing. I'm not a comic
maybe,
book reader. Um, or maybe they've gone in a new direction. I don't know.
yeah,
Kang's certainly part of the comics. Where does that end up?
yeah. Folks
Have
listening,
you?
comment on the thread for this and let us know what you think for sure,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we're in the dark.
Yeah, Miles, have you read any of the Marvel? You read some. I know you read more comics than Dave and I probably have. Have you read any of the Marvel stuff with Kang at all?
No, no, I'm not. I'm only familiar with Kang just with the MCU.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so let's. Is there anything else we need to talk about regarding Guardians of the Galaxy 3 before we give it a rating on a? I guess a. What do we give? Do we give it a 5-star rating? Is that typically what we do? A 1 to 5
Yeah.
or 1 to 10?
1 to 5.
1 to 5 works. So,
Yeah.
anything else we want to talk about before that?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
great performances by the actors that we've grown to love and know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I do like Gamora flying Krill's ship,
Yeah.
or if you can call it flying. But
Yeah.
yeah, all right. Well, let's go. Let's go through and let's rank these out of 5. And Miles, out of 5 stars, where do you rank it?
I'll give it a solid 4.
Solid 4. Okay, Dave, how about you?
Solid 4, only because of the misuse of Adam.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, if we're allowed decimals, I'll do like 4.25 or something like
Oh,
that. But I would say four is reasonable to me. It's
yeah.
it was, and for me that makes it a really good Marvel
Yes.
movie. There are other movies that would rank, as we discussed, much lower than that for me. So I think fours across the board feel good to me. So. But hey, if you're listening, we'd love to hear how you would rank this movie and your thoughts on what are your thoughts? Would you give it a 4? Would you give it a 5? A 1? Did you hate the movie? Um, yeah, very good, very good. And next time, I guess we're reviewing Howard the Duck, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we have to talk about that. Talk about that. Um,
Yeah.
we could go back and do Quantum Manium if we want to, or maybe not.
Maybe we should do an old movie, an old classic.
Okay,
Like
Howard the Duck. Got
You walked into that one,
it.
Miles.
it's old, but it's not a classic.
All right. Well, we'll have to talk about it, and
Yeah.
we appreciate everyone for joining us. And guys, it's been great hanging out with you tonight, talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
It was
Oh,
fun.
as always.
It was, as always, it was a blast. All right. I believe without further ado, let's wrap up the share. Miles, why don't you take us out?
All right. Till next time. Good night and good luck.
We'll see you.
And go boldly.